Brother Mike, would you lead an invocation today, sir?
I sure will. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, and I want to wish everybody a happy New Year that's here. If you don't mind, if you can bow your head and close your eyes for a word of prayer. Father, we thank you for the beautiful day that you've given us in our city. We thank you for our new mayor, our new council. God, I just got one word in my spirit, unity, Father God, to make this city a better place, God, for all of our residents. I thank you for our new chief, our police department, our fire department, our awesome works department, and everybody that's gathered here today, Father God. I ask that you would bless and guide and direct us and help us. And Lord, I want to pray for the Ukraine, God, that we would remember those people, God, that's involved with wrapping this war up and be with our military men and women, God, that serve this nation so faithfully. And we ask it in the mighty name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And we said, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
Thank you, Brother Mike. All right, we're
Turn
going to start right at 6:30. All right, roll call, please. Miss Brenda, if you would.
Ms. Sendlow?
Here.
Mr. Hibbert?
Here.
Ms. Mangus?
Here.
Ms. Mendez?
Here.
Ms. Portman?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker?
Here. All right, obviously, I want to apologize because most of you know me. This could be a really long meeting, but it wasn't intentional today. Look at some of the faces, I can tell you right now. But we have a lot of things we want to tell you today. So obviously today, and we got a lot of big news on the 23rd as well. So I would like to go briefly through some of these announcements, and then we'll get going on everything else. First of all, obviously very excited and honored to be your mayor here of Shepherdsville. And I'm excited to work with this group of council. We've got some veterans, we've got some rookies, but I think it's a great blend of people that really want to make our city better. So I do also at this point want to introduce our new chief. He's hiding somewhere. Steve Schmidt, would you stand up and just everybody, this is our new police chief if you haven't met him yet. We're expecting big things, no pressure. So a lot of what I would like to do just briefly is, we ran on a campaign of improving the quality of life for the people of Shepherdsville. And the biggest thing about that was, what do we have invested in our city at this point, and what we need to do to really improve that. And we're going to talk a lot about that in the next coming weeks. I think it's important for people to understand that there's got to be a planning stage to this. There's a professional approach that we're taking that's different than the way we used to do things here. It's a whole lot different. It's going to change. And we're going to add some folks that are professional, that are experienced, that are result-oriented, and have the leadership skills to help us get where we want to get the next 2, 4, and 8 years. It's got to be about trust. I think there's been a missing element of trust between the citizens and the government, and even within the government, there's been a mistrust. I think that comes from transparency. We're going to see things change. We're going to an upgraded website. We're going to have our financials there for everyone to see. When our month ends, 2 weeks after that, we will have information on financials, not only for this council, for the department heads, and for the citizens to see where we're at.
That's right.
We want you all to know. We really want you to know. And our door is open. As anybody that's talked to me already knows, I'm always trying to make time for everybody. Just makes it for a little longer day, but that's really okay, because that's what this is about. Making time for people to really understand what our mission is and what our vision is for Shepherdsville. I'm excited about youth sports programs. I wanted to make sure that we really started bringing back youth sports programs back for our kids here instead of them going to Mount Washington and Hillview. And I'm happy to say, I know I've got Tommy and Ken, they're going to speak a little bit about it. But this spring, our kids are going to stay in Shepherdsville and sign up for youth sports. Okay, we're also going to have, and I promised all I would do is recognize her. I'm not going to make her speak, but we have a lady named Amanda Spalding, and she's probably hiding. I can't see her.
She's in the back.
She's hiding in the back. But Amanda Spalding has volunteered to be our basketball commissioner. Mattingly, what did I say?
Spalding.
Oh, I'm Amanda Spalding, all right. Wrong person, Amanda. But I want you to see the flyers she's already put together. We're going to start putting together some training instructional classes for the kids starting in February. And then we're going to skip the summer, and then we're gonna put basketball leagues together for the kids of Shepherdsville at no charge. The parents, coaches will work on jerseys and referees, but there'll be no expense for them to play in a taxpayer-paid gymnasium. So I wanna make sure that everybody understands, we knocked on a lot of doors, we talked about a lot of things, but we're gonna start first week of getting those things started on what we wanna do. I know Tom Barr, if you read his article, I probably already have a whole bunch of speeding tickets. I know I have to talk slower, and I have to move within the pace of government, but that does not mean we can't get things done. This group up here has already acknowledged, I've had some time with each of them, and we're all excited about making a difference in this community. But it starts with everybody out there too. I wanna make sure you all are part of what we wanna do. I've heard a lot of people volunteering, wanting to do the things we wanna do, but this is a new Shepherdsville, and I'm excited to be a part of it. And I wanna make sure that everybody who wants to be a part of it can be, because we now have a chance, with our cooperation with the county, with the school board, and other agencies, to make sure that we're working together to make this the best city that it can be. I've told a number of people already, this is a gold mine. Shepherdsville has the opportunity to be as good as any city we know. And even though I like E-Town, and I think Mount Washington's okay,
Watch it now, Barry.
but I really like my city of Shepherdsville. So I'm excited. I wanted to tell you all that because we did a lot of campaigning on that, and I want to do what I say, Brother Mike. All right, with that said, obviously one of the individuals that we want to bring aboard, as we talked about professionalism, results-oriented, is a lady that we want to bring on this team to help us actually really do things in relationships with our business. We have no business relationship in this community where they can be a part of that. So what I want to do more than anything else, not only for this council, but for you in the audience that don't know her, I'd like Courtney Burden to come to the podium there for a minute there, if you don't mind. This is Courtney Burden, and I just wanted to get a chance for you all to meet who she is. Let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Turn the mic.
Oh, you got it, and I'll give her a few minutes.
I didn't know if
Courtney,
he was gonna talk for another minute or 30 minutes.
we all know how this goes.
Okay, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Courtney Burden, born and raised in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I've done a few things since I graduated from Bullitt Central High School. I joined the military. I'm a very proud Navy veteran. Graduated on the GI Bill and came back home to Shepherdsville to give back to my city, to work in a career, raise my children. And so I stand before you today to do a couple of things that Jose's asked me to do. And I just want to give you a little bit of talk about what I'm capable of and what I'm excited to do for this city. Number one, as a proud Bullitt Countyan, as someone who's born and raised and lived in Shepherdsville the majority of my life, I want to make Shepherdsville beautiful. I want to make Shepherdsville, when somebody's driving through Shepherdsville, they say, oh my goodness, I haven't been here in a few years. I can't believe what I'm driving through. And it's such a feasible, obtainable task by doing a few things. Number one is building public and private relationships with some of the businesses that are right here. Some of those are national corporate funding, those big box businesses. They are willing to get involved. It's just about how we ask. And I think we'd be amazed at how much some of our small businesses would get involved if we ask appropriate asks. We have to know how to ask for what. Some businesses can offer $5,000 if we can figure out a way to accept that money in an incremental fashion. Some businesses can give $50,000 if their name's on the right piece of a lamppost or on a bench in our beautiful park that's coming. So one of the things I want to do is look at the plans and look at what our priorities are, and then go to the appropriate businesses. Let's hit up some of our businesses for brand new light posts with electric, that we can hold beautiful banners for Veterans Day parades, and we can have light up beautiful lit downtown for Christmas decorations. That is obtainable, and that's not a long-term goal. That's going to the right 12, 20 businesses and saying, hey, Courtney from Kentucky Eye Care, could you donate $7,000 for one light post? Because you're gonna make such a difference in our downtown area. So that's the first thing I wanna do. I wanna take their vision, I wanna take the plans for the city, and I wanna do some private fundraising, and I wanna solicit some donations. So those businesses can be proud to be a part of our city, but also our citizens can be proud of our city. So that's number one. Number two, I represent the Chamber of Commerce here in Bullitt County. I'm the president of the chamber. I've been involved for years and years, and I've watched us grow. And what I know for sure is we can combine our efforts. The Chamber of Commerce is already looking at what to do and who to recruit and where should we ask people to bring their business. The city of Shepherdsville is doing the same thing. So it's my job to take those two things and marry that together and create an initiative where we have the same people working on the same goals. We just want to get around the same table and have the conversation. So it's just a blessing that I can represent the city of Shepherdsville and the Chamber of Commerce. So instead of going to these businesses with 2 or 3 people representing the same ask, just let me be the one ask. So I really believe using the Chamber of Commerce, we have more than doubled the Chamber of Commerce membership in the last 3 years. So Bullitt County and the city of Shepherdsville, we're growing. We're on fire when it comes to businesses. And we're talking about everybody from JOM, gigantic businesses that have thousands of employees, to small mom and pop shops. People want to get involved, they just don't know how. And it's my job to make sure that I can show them how. I'll be happy to show them how. And then I will proudly display their name, and then I will proudly boast to everyone that I can to say, look what Kentucky Eye Care did. Look what the American Legion's doing. There's so many ways to be proud, both from the city's point of view, but also from these small businesses' point of view. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we're in compliance and we're getting all the help we can to make sure that occupational tax is being paid. Because it's a daunting task and it's overwhelming. And let's just talk about the temporary workers. Let's talk about those subcontractors. We want to make sure we're going through that occupational tax report with a fine-tooth comb, making sure everyone that needs to pay and has the invoices to pay, that those are being paid compliantly. So in a nutshell, I just want to take what we have with the Chamber of Commerce, with some of these executives that are out and about in Shepherdsville, and I want to make sure they understand how to get involved with our city, how to make donations, how to be a part of fundraisers. And then I want them to drive through and see where their money is going and be proud of it. That's what I'm here to do.
Appreciate
Courtney
it.
Burden, nice. Thank you so much for your time.
Tom, does she get a speeding ticket? I want to make sure she gets a speeding ticket. All right, one of the things I want to add to what Courtney was talking about, we talked about the relationship with the chamber. So many times businesses come to our city, and what happens is we just cut ribbons. And again, nothing against that part. We are going to start recruiting the businesses we want. A bowling alley, a Hobby Lobby, a craft store. How about a couple full-service restaurants that we can recruit here? How about some additional type of shopping? So we're not spending our money in E-Town, Mount Washington, or Louisville. We keep these dollars in Shepherdsville. We'll have the kind of money to continue to grow and keep servicing more sidewalks and more infrastructure, the type of things that make our city the kind of city we're all going to be proud of. And that's really critical to what happens in the future of what kind of businesses we want here. So for the next professional person who's sitting right next to me, and she's getting the speeding ticket, I know she is. But I would like to make sure that you all have, if you haven't met, this is Catherine Dozier, our city attorney. And I would like her to stand up and just say hello. And you don't have to say anything, but I just want you to just wave to everybody and do whatever you want to do.
Hello. Yes. Do I need to turn this on?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm probably loud enough without it, but just real briefly, I'm from here. Graduated Bullitt Central in 1994. Actually left to go to college at Maryland. Came back to the University of Kentucky for law school, and I'm raising my 12-year-old boys here. And it's a real honor to be able to serve in this capacity. It was something that was unexpected and I did not seek out, but I've actually done some of this work before, and I'm really happy to be doing it for my hometown.
It's really nice to know we've got graduates from Bullitt Central making a difference in the city of Shepherdsville. I think it's really neat. Good stories, and I'm really excited about what you guys can do to help us hit our vision for Shepherdsville. All right, with that said, our next announcement, Faith, you might be right, it might be 10 o'clock. All right, all right, so Scott Fleming, if you are going to come up here and discuss the bid for the sewer expansion that was already out. Oh, Oh, that's right. Arthur, would you, you all have something in your packet. It's something that was already approved in the budget, but I want to make sure that they come into you.
Okay.
You guys would have received last week a set of drawings and a bid package for the sewer expansion whenever it comes to the offices that are needed over there. We've got additional staff that are needed in the wastewater department. These offices on the front of the existing storage is gonna accommodate for those needed staff. The staffing's already been approved, but just like the rest of the city, we're growing so fast that we've gotta have places for more people to be. And so these offices are gonna make for that space. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to get in contact with me this week, and I'd be happy to answer those anytime during the workday.
I do
Yes,
have
sir.
one question for you. I know it's been approved in your budget, so I know the money's allocated for it.
Yes, sir.
The one thing that I really want to make sure is, I know you went through the process, through the bidding process, but my concern is this. Just, I think the biggest thing for the council specifically, that as that money's been allocated, and I think it's 600,000, somewhere thereof.
Correct.
We just, if you would you do the decency to make sure this council and myself knows as you spend money and draw on, just to kind of keep us up with the invoices that are, I would just like to see that. I think most of the
Absolutely.
people up here would like to see how that money's been spent. We know it's the thing that's been approved and all that, but I just think for this council, because we talked about transparency, we're talking about building trust, I think this would be a great way to take this project and just show them the progress as you go along. Can we do that? Arthur, I appreciate that, and I thank you for the information. If anybody's got any questions, everybody's got his email and phone number, so. You got anybody up here? Bonnie, Brad, anybody? Jennifer? All right. Well, Arthur, that was quick today.
Mayor,
Yes.
three of us have a meeting Tuesday with Arthur and Scott
Oh,
over a lot
okay.
of this stuff, so we'll
Okay.
have more
There you
questions
go.
then and get, a lot more.
All right.
Arthur knows to get ready.
Arthur, thank you for doing that. Appreciate Scott. Thank you, guys. We appreciate that. Next on our agenda, what we talked about is we talked about our youth sports programs, T-ball, baseball, and softball for ages 5 through 12. So if my two gentlemen, Tommy and Ken, would come up here to the podium, we won't make you talk for a long time. I just want them to get an idea of what you guys have done and the commitment we're making to the program to be here this spring. So, you guys wanna come up there for a minute? I'll just give you the floor for a little. Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, please state your names and addresses.
All right, my name's Ken Elby. I'm president of Blue Lick Baseball. Live at 1372 Wilderness Way, in Shepherdsville. This is Tommy Parker.
I'm Vice President Blue Lick and actually live in Pioneer Village, 4632 Springdale Court.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I just want you, I'm sorry. You guys will just talk a little bit, maybe some of the conversation and where we're at in the progress. I know we're working on fields right now. We're replacing fencing and we're gonna get the fields prepped.
Yes,
But,
sir. Tommy's been running Blue Lick for probably 25 years. I've been a part of it for almost 10 now. Probably 40% of our kids come from Shepherdsville and travel to, the south side we're right off of Mud Lane in Hillview. So we really want to, what we'd like to do in long term is eventually sell our park and invest in a bigger park, a bigger baseball complex here. With your help, of course, we can't do that on our own.
no worries.
But short-term goal, what we'd like to do is play some baseball in the park. We have 2 fields down there that are available. We would need to change the base path, all stuff that Blue Lick volunteers will do. But we need permission to use those fields at Frankie Simon Park. And then, Mr. Mayor has been talking to someone about using the fields behind Roby Elementary. They've already started working on, they've taken the fences down. We've got some brush we're gonna clean up where the fence rows are, and get those fields available to use. They don't have to be in the best of shape to get it going. A lot of it's T-ball and young kids. They just wanna hit a ball and run, So But there's a lot of work needs to be done. You know, we have to advertise it, we have to do signups, everything. We're a little bit behind the ball as far as getting signups for this year, but I think it's definitely doable. You know, we need, I don't think we have a concession stand in the park.
No, you don't, not at this point.
Yeah,
Just-
at
we
either
just-
place, but there's ways to work around that as well temporarily. You know, we need, there are a few things that we would need from you guys. We need help advertising that we're opening up baseball in Shepherdsville. You know, I don't know the ins and outs of what's the best way to do that. We have, you know, we have a bathroom issue, I think, at both places.
Yeah.
That we'll have to tackle, and storage areas for our equipment and things like that. But we would like to, you know, we would like to play baseball this year in Shepherdsville, and then eventually, if everything goes as planned by the fall, we'd like to not be playing at Blue Lick and bring all of those kids to Shepherdsville as well. And then play our rec ball Monday through Friday, and on the weekends, host travel tournaments, things like that, which brings in money from other places.
Sure.
You know, people visiting Shepherdsville, and when you bring in a bunch of baseball teams, they're gonna eat at every restaurant, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna spend some money here.
So Ken, I want to add something to it. First of all, I do want to make sure, if I think maybe Jerry Summers is gone, but through the county is also assisting us with the fencing and fixing the fields, because we've got somebody that actually works on baseball fields. Megan's going to take care of that. So those two things will be done. You'll have the 2 softball fields and the T-ball field there at Roby. Those are available. What we did as a partnership was they ran the program, we offered the fields. And you'll have storage at the press box there, and I think you need a key. So probably before the week is out, how about Friday? If maybe I won't be able to do it Thursday, but I'll do it Friday. Why don't we meet Friday morning, get you back over here, maybe something like 10 or 11 o'clock. But let's just finalize what you need. The brush is going to be a thing we need to take care of. But let's get those fields ready, because also I have mentioned to my department heads already that we'd like to schedule a little parade for the kids April 29th. That's 2 weeks after the season starts, but it's a little bit warmer. It brings back what should have stayed. Okay, having a parade, having the kids playing. So again, it's an evolution. These first couple of years will be that. But I will tell you, long-term, as we've talked about it, we would love to have a baseball complex in Shepherdsville. Okay, now there's some opportunity. There's obviously things that Courtney and I are going to be working with partnerships and looking at the industrial park where we could put something like that. We have plenty of opportunities to build a nice baseball fields, you know, in a complex with a nice concession stand, press box, so that we could actually have tournaments and really have something to be proud of. So we're bringing our programs back, but that's not just the beginning of the story. So, gentlemen, I'm looking forward to working with you. I appreciate your love for baseball. I know it's been a lot of years together doing what you're doing, but we're excited to actually make this happen. This is going to be fun this year. So, thank you, gentlemen. Yeah,
One more thing, if you
Absolutely.
don't mind. We are hosting the 10-year-old Babe Ruth District Tournament this year. We would love to do that in Shepherdsville, in the park. So that'll bring quite a few rec ball kids in. It'll let people know that baseball's being played here.
That's right. And that's what we want to make sure. Gentlemen, I really appreciate you coming in today, but we got a lot of things to work on. It's going to be fun. Hey, thank you all very much.
Appreciate y'all's time.
Tommy, thank you all very much. So with each city, there are always challenges, things that we need to work on. And I was at a council meeting probably about 6 months ago, and I know the tensions got really high about an issue that's in this community. And it's one that we always have to address. We have to be compassionate, but we have to have a balance in our decision-making. And so the homeless situation came up, and obviously we have a situation with a resident with the sandbags that we're gonna be dealing with that as well. And, you know, there's roads to fix and all kinds of things to work on to clean up the city. But I asked Brother Mike to come out here because he actually had a very good idea and something we're gonna try to see how we can implement it, because it's a good balance. So Brother Mike, if you will, if you'll come up here and spend a few minutes talking about your plan that you offered everybody 6 months ago, but I'd like you to kind of get it started and how we're gonna make this happen.
Thank you, Mayor Doggett. Mike Miller, 261 North Canterbury, Mayor of Mount Washington, Kentucky.
Oh, don't bring that.
But anyway, I want to congratulate you, Mayor, and the City Council, each and every one of you all. And I like what I'm hearing about unity. Of course, many of y'all know I retired 10 years ago as a police officer, and one of the biggest problems I had, it just seems like we couldn't get nothing done. So it seems like what I like to hear tonight is unity. But anyway, I think it was back in September, Mr. Mayor, that I came, and I know we got new city council people, and again, congratulations to you, but, there's been a lot of talk about how can we solve this problem. And, I prayed about it. I got a little experience. I'm founder of a homeless ministry in Metro Louisville called River City Love Squad. It's been there about 24 years, so I know a little bit about homeless ministry. Now, they don't make me the expert on it, but I know a little bit about it. So anyway, you're right, it's a sore spot, so we're gonna try to get through this the best way we can, but I've got, I just wanna talk about the vision is the 48-hour emergency thing is that, you know, we could get, a situation here to where, get a building, okay? And I know a lot of people think, I wanna make the record clear, not all homeless people are bad people. Obviously, most Americans live from paycheck to paycheck. So, a lot of times you'll meet families that are suffering for whatever reasons, because economy and so forth. So let's don't get the mentality that all homeless people are criminal. Now, some of them are, there's a criminal element there, but, not all of them are. They just fall on hard times. And that can happen to anybody. But, my vision of this, and I've talked to some other people, is that we would like to do like a 48-hour emergency facility. In other words, if the police, I gotta be careful with my words because Captain Patchett corrected me, or Major Patchett corrected me, but say the police is making a run over to a business, okay, and there's a homeless person there, okay, you can give them an option, say, hey, listen, we got a homeless shelter over here, it's a 48-hour emergency, hold over, we can bring you over here, get you some, you know, food, clothes, clean you up, and ship you down to, up to Louisville. A lot of people don't know this about Metro Louisville. I've worked real close with Wayside Coalition of the Homeless for years. Louisville's got one of the best resources in America to help homeless people, and that's a fact. You say, why they got them all scattered out on the streets? Well, I don't have that answer because I'm not there anymore. But there is a lot of resources there to help these people. So say the police shows up at your local business. You're a businessman or woman here today. You show up, you call the police, and police show up, say, hey, listen, we got a facility, we can take you over here, get you cleaned up, get you a meal. Then our job would be is to get them tapped into up here to Louisville and to resources. You know, so these are just things, but this is gonna take a lot of time and energy. I know it's a sore spot with a lot of people, but I believe if we can keep this mentality, what people don't understand about Bullitt County is that you got Spencer County, you got Nelson County, you got Jefferson County, they've got something to help these people. And Bullitt County really don't. Now, it wouldn't be right for me not to mention Mark, 12 Ministries, Brother Perry's been trying to do what he can to get something up and going and so forth and so on. So you got people out here that want to help solve this problem. But it's going to take some time, it's going to take some energy, it's going to take the community to come together. I'm here in unity. So it's what it's going to take. So that's kind of like a vision that we've got that I think that can work. And matter of fact, I think if we get it up and running, and I'm not saying this to be arrogant, I think it could be a national model. And I don't want to be discredited to Carl Rogers. He came to me many years ago about the room of the inn and going to church. And I'm a pastor, and there's legal things you got to be careful when you're bringing certain people in this type of situation, okay? Criminal element and so forth. So with that being said, that's what I'm talking about in reference to that. So I met with the mayor on January 3rd in his office, and we talked about the location. I totally understand if you're a business person here, you don't want a homeless facility by your business or by your residential. But I think the city and the county's got enough property that the mayor and the council and Jerry Summers and they can get together and come up with a location. Now, you can't expect, you know, I'm a pastor, I pastor a church, Family Day Ministries here in the city. We've been here about 14 years. You can't expect just the churches to carry this burden, okay? This is a community problem, so we all got to come together, city government, council, and so forth, and put our time and energy to pull this together to make this work, okay? So with that said, we got to think about a location, okay? Where are we going to put this at? You know, outside the city limits, somewhere, you know, you don't want to get too far away, but I get what you're saying. You want it out of sight and out of mind. I get that. There's no problem with that. But a location is a very important. The mayor talked about he thinks it's a good idea that we run it through a 501c3 nonprofit, which we are, Mark 12 Ministries, I'm assuming, right, Brother Perry? Y'all 501c3?
Yeah, we're yes.
Okay, so, you know, mayor thinks it's a good idea instead of running this through like a city government or whatever, to run it through a nonprofit ministry. And I totally agree with that, okay? You need to run it through a nonprofit ministry, whether that would be us or another ministry or whatever it may be. So the mayor wanted me to bring numbers tonight, but for the sake of time, the mayor said if that be the case, we'd be here till 1 o'clock. And I'm not going to throw out dollar signs and all this other type of stuff right now. There's no way of doing that right now. But I will tell you that to start a ministry like this, you're going to have a director, you're going to have a couple of full-time people, you're going to have some volunteers, okay? Now, the difference between full-time people and volunteers is that you can expect much more out of people that you pay, right? I think we can all understand that. But a volunteer is a volunteer, okay? And I know all about, well, Brother Mike, I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna help you do this, and get a call and they don't show up for whatever reasons, okay? And that's not criticizing people who volunteer, because I do volunteer work like many of you all do. But sometimes volunteers, you know, if you're not paying them, you can't expect a lot out of them. That's just reality. So anyway, there will be some cost obviously in that. Now, when I left the mayor's office, now I had 19 million things going across my mind. And I will say this about the mayor, that he wanted to be transparent with the community about this. He didn't want to have closed door meetings and say one thing, come out and do something different. I'll just flat out tell you that. I'm an old street cop, 15 years in Louisville, 7 years out here. So I'm just telling you the facts. He wanted to be transparent. So when I left there, I got to praying, and I said, Lord, I really need some help with this. So the good Lord put a person on my heart who's been in city government here for a long time, and I went by this lady's office to talk to her, and she gave me the best wisdom that I've heard. She said, Brother Mike, why don't you think about doing this? Why don't you think about putting a committee together? Get the mayor, yourself, and some other community leaders, pastors, and 3 council people, right? Or we're allowed to have 3 council people, right? As long as there's not, I was told we can only have like, for maybe one.
3, yeah, you can do 3.
Right, because you can't have 4 because it's against the law and all this.
Yeah.
But she gave me the best wisdom I heard about this, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, and she said, why don't you get a committee together, okay? Get the mayor, get yourself, get, you know, Mark 12 minutes, whatever, and you all sit down and come up with how much this is gonna cost, what are you gonna need, and so forth. So Mayor, I thought that was a great idea, and I didn't get to call and tell you about that.
That's okay.
And I hope you're not mad about that, because you told me to be transparent. But that was some of the best wisdom that I heard about this, okay? Because if we're gonna be transparent, listen, it's a problem. You know, I've been out here now, and I was one of these outsiders from Louisville. And when I came here, it was Bonnie Enlow's husband, Jim Enlow, that showed the love and kindness to me and made me feel welcome here. And he's mentored a lot of people, me being one of them as a police officer. So I'm not an outsider anymore, I'm an insider, all right? I live out here, I love y'all, and I'm glad to be out here to pasture and retire. But I think what this lady told me, and I told her I wouldn't mention her name, but she gave me the best wisdom that I think is that we need to put a committee together and be transparent with you, the business owners, you know, the people in the community, the council and the mayor, because, you know, well, I didn't hear about this. I've heard this out of the county. Well, I didn't hear about that, Brother Mike. I don't know anything about that. Well, if we're transparent about this and the community leaders can come in and give some input, I think this would be the best way to solve this homeless situation. Now, we all got to understand that we can't completely resolve the homeless situation, okay? You got to rely on a Christian man. Jesus said you always have the poor with you. But we can resolve this problem, I believe, about 98 to 99% to make it work, okay? Now, with that being said, that's what I want to put out, and obviously, if any of the council or you all have questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them to the best of my ability. But this is a problem, I promise you. I told Carl Rogers this 13 years ago in my office when he came to me about the room of the inn. Okay, this was a thing that was taken from Nashville and brought to Shepherdsville. And Carl Rogers is a good man. He's a friend of mine. He's passed on into glory. But the bottom line of it is this, is I had a concern about taking a bunch of homeless people all through a bunch of churches. I actually called my insurance, and they said, Mike, it's not a good thing to do, okay? So what we need to do is get something here, and I know Mark 12 Ministries, you've given them authority to have white flag until March, is that correct? So that's taken care of as of right now, but we're gonna have an issue if we don't deal with it, and it's just gonna get worse. And I told Carl, if you're not careful, you're gonna cause more of a problem of more people, homeless people coming into the area, and this is what's happened, okay? It's not Carl's fault or anybody's, just more people are coming from Louisville, the homeless are coming out here. Matter of fact, I was down in Louisville, I don't go there that much anymore, but I was down there, I couldn't get over all the homeless tents. It was unbelievable. I must have saw 150 homeless people. It was unbelievable, I couldn't believe it. Matter of fact, I locked my doors and had my gun on me. And he said, well, you're trying to start homelessness. I'm just saying, we don't want that to happen out here. So we can start now to set up a good model here, okay, from Bullitt County, okay? It's just not gonna be the city of Shepherdsville. I expect Mount Worship to help. I expect, you know, Hillview to help. I expect Lebanon Junction, because this will be a facility, not just for the city of Shepherdsville, but for Bullitt County, okay? All right, Mayor, because I know you got a lot on schedule, so.
No, first of all, Brother Mike, I appreciate you kind of heading all this up. I think that things will work. Our support for him is obviously looking at a location. That's our first big part of that. I do think the committee idea is really a good idea. You know, I would love to have 3 volunteers. I mean, I'm gonna be on it. I'd
Right.
like to definitely be, but Bonnie, would you, I'd like to have you on there if you will. And,
You're gonna be on it. Can
would
we have the mayor and 3 council members, or
no,
the
I think
mayor
it's
and
only
2?
mayor and 2.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah, mayor and 2. And I would love to have one more if, I mean, whoever would like to be, but, all right, so but Jennifer and Bonnie will be, and Bonnie will work together with, Brother Mike on that. We'll give you what we've got so far, and then what we'll try to do, Brother Mike, we'll set up something. This whole group's gonna be in Lexington next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week, for seminars, but somewhere maybe right after that, can we set up maybe the following week, maybe a meeting to get together, bring you here?
Yes.
And get this group together, can we do that, Bonnie?
That won't be no problem.
Yeah, Bonnie, if we have to, we could always come, I mean, I don't know if you wanna come here, or do you want us to go there, we can figure out.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, we'll figure that out. But I know you got a daytime job, we'll figure that part out too. We'd love to have you after. We're off to a start.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
We wanna be problem solvers. We wanna be problem solvers. And
Right.
this is one that if you're a Christian and you wanna do something good in the community, you gotta work together. And like I said, appreciate what you do, Perry, and I know you guys have done some good work. But we've got, and Journey, I mean, we've got some good team members out here that can really do some good stuff to help these folks. Cause not only the homeless, but I know Journey was putting together social services together so that somebody that's downtrodden, they don't have to go 3 different buildings. They come to one place and they can figure out what services they need. I think Jeremy's off to a great start with that. I really enjoyed what they were trying to do. And so that could be also a part of this, because what we find out, you know what, everyone that we could maybe take them out of that situation, wouldn't that be a great thing?
Absolutely.
That's a win. So,
Absolutely.
Brother Mike, thank you very much for
Yeah,
coming
Mayor,
out.
can I say, just
Absolutely.
because I know you got a big agenda here, but I just want everybody to know that I might not be the man that directs it. I don't want to bring that across because I pastor a church full-time. But with that being said, that could be somebody else. But I know I feel like God's put me here to bring the unity to get this going. And I just want to be honest and transparent.
No way.
And one more quick thing, I
Yeah.
brought back to the last council,
Uh-huh.
and she's not asked me to do this, but I felt led to do it. I would ask that the mayor and the council, within the next couple of months, think about naming the street after Jim Enlow. Jim Enlow was a man that served his community. I think everybody would agree. You knew where Jim Enlow stood. Bonnie has not said anything to me about this, but as I came many years ago as a police officer, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of not treated very well, but Jim loved me and mentored me. And please don't take this wrong, all you UAK fans, my brother was buried in UAK close, so don't throw a rock at me. But if we can honor Joe B. Hall, and I think we should honor some men and women that Jim served his community with hardly not any money or compensation, I would ask the mayor and the council to reconsider my request that I made about 4 or 5 months ago about that. So that's all I got. So-
And 2 things for you. First of all, yes on that. We will work on that together. Bonnie.
Great
Okay.
idea.
We will. I think that's
Okay,
great.
okay. All right, thank you, Mayor and
But
council.
also, you
Okay.
just unofficially volunteered to run it. Thank you very much.
We'll talk later.
Thank you, Brother Miller.
Thank you, Brother Mike. I don't want to get to too much. This is really for next meeting on the 23rd, but I hope you can invite everybody to come out. We're going to represent the park plan, renovation of downtown Buckman area, and an aquatic center for our families. We're way behind the time for our families, and I ran on a campaign of getting these things done. I have a coffee cup that sits in my office. It says Rome wasn't built in a day, but I wasn't on that job. I like that cup. We have a lot of things we're gonna be working on, and I think when Tom talks about things, I don't mean to pick on him, but I think it's important. Yes, we wanna get a lot of things done, and yes, we do have to navigate through the governmental process. But I think for everybody in this room, when you come here the 23rd, you're gonna be excited about what we're gonna be doing for this community. It's money that we can afford, we're gonna do it within the budget we have. We're gonna be able to manage our money to be able to support these type of activities for our families here. And the nice thing about that is, they're doing these things in other cities. When they do them in our city, those tax dollars stay here. So we're excited about that. I hope you and many of your other family and friends can make our next meeting on the 23rd. I mentioned briefly on civil service, I want to know, we have 5 members we're supposed to have. We have 3, but the requirements for the other 2 individuals on our Civil Service Commission have to be either a Democrat or an independent. So if you know anybody that seriously wants to be involved and find some role to be involved, we'd love to have them on our Civil Service Board. The Ethics Committee, I've just added one more. We've got that one taken care of. And the concern I have is we have a Code Enforcement Board and an Ethics Board that has had no members for over 2 years. That's not acceptable. So, and then on the code enforcement, I do actually have 2 members there. So we've been kind of recruiting as we put together our agenda, so things have come along really nicely. So I appreciate all that. Yes,
I thought Pam Peeler was head of Ethics Committee.
I've been told we have no members.
She wasn't
It
ethics.
They've all
expires, their term
expired.
expires, and nobody
Nobody,
was
and the
appointed.
mayor didn't put anybody back in?
No.
Okay.
So again, on any of these individuals that were there before, if they want to be, that's fine. I don't know Pam, but I mean, anybody that wants, I would like to make sure that we have these in place, because these are important boards only for the few times you would ever need them in a year. But I think it's important to have these folks in place. I think it's very reputable for us to have these services.
She was very involved.
Very, very good.
Okay. Do you wanna reach out, to her and then let me know? We'd love to have her back on that, because that would be great. I could make some arrangements on that. She was on ethics?
Yes, she
Okay.
was the chair.
Okay, so let me, I may have to get back with you on that, but I mean, I think, but let me know about that. Thank you, Bonnie. So, we're really down to where the meetings get down to, we're about approval of minutes from last year. So there's only 2 of the folks that were on were on the council during that time, so it's a little bit hard. But obviously, Mike, Bonnie, I'm sure you've read the minutes or
Yes.
looked them over.
Yeah.
They can all approve them.
Yeah, but even with the folks that are on this council now, as you read these meetings, you do actually have the approval to say yes, no, so,
Well, we can approve it and they abstain because they weren't a part of the meeting, and then the abstains go with the majority, which will be the 2 votes.
that's exactly what so I need a motion to approve.
Motion?
Motion by Bonnie, second.
I'll second.
Second by Mike, and then, Ms. Brenda, will you do a roll call, please?
Now, it could get interesting here.
It could?
It could.
Oh, God. No.
Okay.
All right.
Ms. Enlow?
Oh,
Let's do a roll
Yeah.
call. Yes.
Roll call,
No one
Yes.
abstained.
yes.
Okay.
I was talking.
Mike Hibbert?
No,
You're gonna know?
I said no. I'll explain it in a minute. And then we have 4 abstains, right?
Paula
Yeah.
Mangus?
Abstain.
All right.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Brett?
Abstain. My question is this: since we don't have a majority for the abstentions to vote for, and the only reason, I'm gonna amend my vote here in a minute. And that's because it's been a tradition that I second the motion to adjourn. And Stacy Klein stole that from me at the last meeting.
So now the truth
It
comes
was
out.
recorded as a 6-0 vote. It was actually a 5-1. So we will amend that to be a 5-1. I will change my vote now to a yes, so the abstains are okay. How's that?
That will be amended, Mike, and we
Thank you.
appreciate your yes vote.
Thank you.
So we have a carry on that. So thank you all for such a dramatic meeting minutes. All right, with that said, obviously, we've talked about, we have no old business. New business, obviously, we've talked about 2 of the folks that we want to be a part of our administration, things that we want to get done. First on the list is obviously our city attorney. As we've discussed this, I've talked to each of you all, and the money is allocated for it, but obviously there are some monies that we need to allocate from one fund to another. So we are actually making a transfer of one of our accounts for the first year. So I'm gonna read that, and then I'll ask for a motion and second and a vote. The transfer of $8,800 from budget line item 5710, it's our legal fees account, to budget line item 5019, salary and wages to the city attorney, plus $700 from budget line item 5710, legal fees, to budget line item 5020, which is the payroll taxes, the employee amount. This is to cover the additional amount that we're actually gonna pay our new city attorney. With that said, I need a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
All right, second.
I second.
So we have a motion to approve by Mike and a second by Paula. Roll call, please.
Discussion.
Oh, discussion, yes, ma'am.
This money that you're moving is to cover the increase in the yearly pay?
Yes, but it'll go to the end of the fiscal year. We're actually going for the fiscal year, we're just gonna finish that, then we'll actually, when we get into budgets, we're actually gonna put it in the budget as far as what we've actually contracted with Catherine Dozier on her position.
Okay.
Okay.
And Catherine, don't think I'm picking on you, but what city experience do you have?
So when I was practicing law at my firm in Louisville, we represented the city of Bancroft, which is a smaller city, but you still have to follow the same statutes and write the same ordinances the right way and all of that. So I worked for them for about 4 years. And then I also did some volunteer legal advice to the city of Goshen in Oldham County when I lived there for about 2 years.
Okay.
I never worked for them, but I would help them with contracts and things along those lines. So, I can tell you it's not, as extensive as, other people, but, I can promise you that, I will make sure that we do things correctly. And, I've already found some issues and concerns that, will probably need to be addressed.
In our ordinances, probably?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And in fact, these payroll taxes should eventually be taken out, because if I become an independent contractor, which is what I should be, you all will not be paying payroll taxes.
So,
And so that's one of the things that we wanted to,
yeah, I want
Work
to
on
add to
fixing.
this. One of the things that we found, that she's already researched in the time that she's been with us, is that I put in each of the boxes for the council the proper statute, by Kentucky statute, of how we're supposed to do our ordinances. And there are several that would not hold up in court. Several, including the position of city attorney. So we have a lot of work in front of us, but we had somebody do the due diligence even before they started with us to identify a lot of this. She's also identified that we have no leg to stand on the residents sitting there at Fifth Avenue with the sandbags. Okay, we have to make sure, as we talked about moving forward as a professional administration, we have to make sure that we're dotting i's and crossing t's. We cannot have the city of Shepherdsville liable because we don't have a legal standing on our ordinances. And I appreciate that she did that, but it goes to show the kind of people we want part of this administration. And I think it's right that you ask those questions. I think it's important for this council to question anything and everything when it comes to the finances. That's their responsibility. And if anybody gets offended up here, then you really shouldn't be up here, because this is what they do. And I'd expect them to do that. I have no disrespect for anybody on that, and this is the way we're gonna handle each other. And this is the way it's gonna move forward. We're gonna be professional with each other. If we have anything that we need to do, we can always meet here and discuss it. But Bonnie, I appreciate it. I know you've always been a good steward of the money here, and it goes to say, and I'll say this, this goes to Bonnie and Mike were the two that were on there. But the history of Shepherdsville, their credit rating is outstanding. Our credit rating is outstanding because of some of the things that we've done through the years. Now, we have some investments that we need to make, but I think it says something about the people that have been through this. It's been a really rough time, a lot of years of not investing back in the community, but the ray of hope is that we have a financial situation that we can really do some really nice things for this community. So, great questions.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
too.
Yes, ma'am.
I've seen in the contract, it's like 32 hours, correct? If it goes over, then we pay you 150 per hour.
well, so the way that I've always known the city attorney to be is an independent contractor.
Right.
Which is, you all sort of been treating them like an independent contractor, but sort of treating them like an employee in that taxes, you all take taxes out, but your city attorney is not on your pay scale.
Right.
So, that's why we need to go back and we'll have to amend that ordinance.
Okay.
So it's really, it's like a retainer. That's really what this would be. It'd be retainer, I'd work against it, and then if I go over that, it's a monthly retainer, let's just say monthly retainer. If I go over that, then that's what it would be. It equates to $150 an hour.
Right. Hopefully you don't go over it too much. But
Well,
saying.
as I told
But I understand
Jose
you
on
do.
these ordinances, you know, it's gonna take a while, one, so I don't go over
Right.
so much. And two, we just wanna make sure that we get it right. And, I mean, there's several that I've already looked at. I've gotta go back 5 ordinances to get to the original that was amended in a group amendment. But that's really the way it should be more construed, is that this is a retainer, you work against it, or I work against it, and then anything over, you know, it would amount to that. But it equates to $150 an hour. I got that based in part because I know that that's what, in 2017, 16, that's what they were paying the city attorney here.
Right.
So it kind of goes back to what was being paid 7 years ago. And I know the last time that I was practicing law full-time, the lowest rate that anyone paid at that hourly rate was 110. Most of them were 125 on up, and as I said, that was 7 years ago. I know it's only going up.
Right.
But I really just kind of went back to what kind of the city had paid the long-term attorney at that
Okay.
time. So that's where I got the $150.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Nathan, wanted to ask
Absolutely.
one thing for you on this. When we discuss some of the issues we're gonna have on these ordinances, we're gonna do a triage on which ones need to be done first. We're gonna take a slow process. We already talked about that. She could work 24/7 probably for the next 2 months, but that's not gonna happen. So we decided over the year, we're gonna filter this out, kind of level it out, so we've got certain ways that we're gonna do it. So she's gonna spend half her time doing things for the city and the other half to get these ordinances in place, because they really need to get taken care of. We're really in a bad situation if we don't do something about it quickly, so. Because I can tell you right now, even, I'll just give you the example, all of our code enforcement, that's all null and void right now. Everything that we've done over the last few years, we don't have a leg to stand on it because of the way these ordinances are set up for us. So we've got some work in front of us, but that's okay. We'll get there. But again, having the kind of people that can get taken care of is what we're trying to do. So, good question, good question. Any other questions, Mike?
No?
Just to clarify, so, you know, as I mentioned to Jose when we were talking, if I see that I'm going significantly over, and that's what we did it a monthly. It used to be weekly, and I thought, well, so if I do 10 hours, you're gonna pay me more, but what if the next week I only do 6? Then they were like, well, we still paid you the same rate. I'm like, so you paid me for 2 extra hours that you shouldn't have. So that's why we did it monthly.
Okay.
But also, if I see that I'm going to go significantly over, I will inform the mayor and the council members so that you guys can decide, hey, hold off on that, let's wait, or no, we really need to get this done. There will not be you will not get like a surprise $20,000 bill at the end of a month. You will know, you will be, and I will send invoices to everyone as stated in the contract. And so you guys will be absolutely kept apprised. I will not, you all won't be surprised.
One question. Do you add up time on council members who call you? Because we have some council members, and I won't name any names, that do a lot of phone calls.
I guess, I would say it depends. I try to be, you know, judicious, obviously, if it's a very quick phone call, no. But if it's a phone call where they're wanting to talk for, 30, 45 minutes about real substantive, not how are your kids, but real legal issues, then that is something I would, bill for. And just because that is taking my time, but chit chat for a few minutes.
Okay,
Send emails, Money.
there you go.
Yeah, that's less expensive. That's less expensive. All right, any other questions up here? No, I do appreciate the questions, and I do expect that you guys, if you have, please don't be shy. All right, with that said, Ms. Brenda?
Bonnie,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes?
Paula,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Just watch, don't run the meter on us. Just make sure that they start to call. Just tell them the meter's running. That might get them to hurry up the conversation. All right, with that said, we obviously have our other individual that we'd like to, and we have a position called Community Planning and Development Coordinator. I know the name was taken from Mount Washington. I did a little research on that. And when we talk about our relationships, again, I had Courtney come up and introduce herself for those that didn't know her. But I think more importantly, what she didn't tell you was she's volunteered with the American Legion. She's on the board of Active Heroes. She's been involved in a number of different organizations raising money. And raising money is what we want. So when we consider this position, it's a little different than it was originally planned. There are some things in those responsibilities that tie in together and some that are different. We'll probably look at getting with the council and letting them know that we'd like to make maybe some adaptations so that we're kind of tweaking it to make sure it's where it is. But it's a very different position in the sense that we're actually retrieving money back in. So when we're asking for this, and we're gonna show you, we're making the transfer, because it's, the one account that this position is, does not have any funds in it, but we have another position that we haven't spent one money in. We still have almost 3 times the money to use. And in each case, what we're doing, and these votes are just to the end of the fiscal year. In the next couple of months, we're working on budgets that we're gonna put together that we'll present to you guys. So you'll see those numbers, you'll see those lines, and you'll see where we're investing the money into these positions and anything else that we do. With that said, same situation here, we're transferring $20,000 out of a budget line 50110, and all of this money is in the same payroll category. It has the same, it just moves to a different class. It's going from the public works category of the same category into the community planning and development coordinators. We're just moving money within the same account. The payroll only has one number, it works from 5010, and we're moving that money into the original position called the community. So with that said, let me just go ahead and read this. So the budget line, it moves the $20,000 from budget line 5010, regular time public works, to the budget line 5010, regular time admin. And the 1530 is actually moved from budget line item 520, payroll taxes, the employee amount, to cover the wages of the community planning and development coordinator. And I just want to make sure it's the same concept. Money is allocated. We have money in these accounts. But in order to keep it correct, we want to make sure the right position is the money being spent on that position. Again, it goes back to, we had a parks director. I can tell you over the next couple of years, I know this council, with the 2 that were on there, and previous councils, have budgeted money for a position that we will eventually need to talk about. But right now, I consider the position that we're trying to put in here to develop a relationship with these businesses, we're talking about retrieving money. We're actually trying to go to shoot for whatever amounts might be out there, because we do have some big name corporations out there that do actually have funds in their budget to help us. So, and that's the money that we're looking to allocate. So we're allocating money for a person who's actually gonna bring in much more than they're actually getting paid. So that's kind of the concept. We gotta see it work, but so this is a great way to put it within the 6 months of this fiscal. We can see if it's gonna work. Are you doing what you're gonna do for us? No pressure. No pressure. But I think it's important, so that's kind of nice about that. So I want to open up for questions for anybody here.
I have some.
All right, no worries.
Number one, in order for you to do this, before we can allocate the money, we have to do a ordinance change in the job classification on the money that's in there. We can't allocate money that's gonna be spent if it's, the job doesn't say that. The job says it starts at 28,000 and it goes to 33,000.
Well, we're doing the same thing as we did in the city attorney. We're actually, the money that we approved for her is the same way. We actually took money, and it was an additional amount of money that we
I
had.
understand where you're getting the money, that's not it. You can't pay her a different amount of what the job classification ordinance says. Yeah, that has to be changed first before you can do that.
So if it's listed like that, that's fine. I mean, I don't mind making the, we'll have it for next meeting, but I'm assuming that the fact that we have it for that amount, it's more of, it actually specifically says the 33.
It
right? Is
says
that what you said?
28,000 to 33,000, so our community planner was paid $13.46 an hour, which was crap.
Yeah, it was
And we tried to get it fixed, and nobody would
that's-
fix it.
Yeah, well, that's,
And
so what I'm getting at, I guess, is because we're allocating more money, the job description itself, the job description should not have that should not be a rate. The job description is the job itself, the
But
pay
it
scale that you
also,
approved.
but our ordinance has that amount built into that with that job description.
That's for a
It's-
full-time too.
And that's a full-time
Yeah.
employee.
All right, so that's fine, this is what
I
I'll do
can show
then.
it to you right here if you
I know,
wanna,
I've got it.
if
I've
you
got
wanna
it.
see it.
Yeah.
So we have to do a first and a second reading on changing
All right,
that
so I'll have-
before we can do this.
Here's what I'll do.
Yeah.
I'll have Catherine rewrite, okay? Okay, so what we'll do on that, if we're gonna do that, let's just change the whole position. Because if you look at it, because the position has some things that it used to do, but it has more of what we wanna get done, because the position now is about raising money for us.
That's fine, you
Right.
can do that.
I wasn't, so what I didn't
Yeah.
wanna do originally with this position, I didn't wanna change it. I thought it had enough in it, that job description wise, it would work for us. but if we have to change it to make sure it fits what we need to do, I am not worried about what she's gonna do. I think she's gonna be just fine. We hadn't planned on starting this till February anyway. So what, you know, it wasn't like it was gonna
Okay.
start tomorrow. So let's do this.
Well, I just knew that
No, it's
you
fine.
apparently you didn't know that or
No,
remember that from
well,
before.
so the job description on that, okay, because it said a value dollar amount, I was under the impression of that ordinance, it should have just been the job description. For you to actually put a pay scale in that, is, you limit yourself on what it does. I get it.
We have that all built into the original,
So I was gonna try to use that position, but that's okay. It won't take us, but what I'll do is I'll have it for you guys. You'll have it before the week is out, okay? And then I'll make sure that that gives you a week. So I would expect that we'll put a first and second on it, Bonnie, on our meeting on the 23rd.
Well, I also just want to mention, because I've gotten some talk among employees that they're not happy that a part-time person is starting out at this amount of money.
Yeah, but
So,
More than them.
way more than the people who work a lot of people that work full-time, and so there is a distinction for the employees. You know, they come to us and complain, so,
No, that's okay. I mean, I don't mind the concern, but we're misunderstanding what the position is actually doing. It's just not just paying somebody a salary, okay? The way we're going to view her salary is what she brings to us, okay? She will actually cost us zero in the process of what she's doing to retain funds from these businesses. You have to have that person. If you're going to continue to do the things that we're talking about like next week, you have to have a person that's gonna, you also have to have a person that's actually gonna recruit the businesses. So what happens when those businesses get here? What incremental services does she bring in taxes? Okay, and we could find a way to track it, and I guarantee you, we're gonna feel like, man, what a deal that we got when we start looking at it from that standpoint. These are business decisions that are part of growing this city. And I know it's different, and I know it's different for you all. But the concept of actually running a city, that you invest in people that are gonna grow it, it's what you do. It's not what's been done in Shepherdsville. And I vowed when I campaigned, we were gonna do it differently than it was done before. And this is different, and I appreciate that. And if the employees will understand the math of this, it's gonna turn out differently. And one of the things you'll see, we'll get it changed. I think it's fair to do that. And I'd like you all to really consider that we're not just talking about a job description or the money that she's actually getting from us. It's gonna be the return on our investment. And then when we see that, we'll run it all the way to our next budget. And I'll even put in that budget that if we don't hit any goals at the end of the budget, we will not put that position back in next year's budget. I'll make that commitment because I feel strongly about what she did. And I don't think she would work for us if she didn't do that. Is that fair to everybody?
that's fair.
Okay, so I think that it should be a total, you're gonna change the title, but I prefer to keep that in there.
Oh, keep the
because-
position?
Keep that position, because who's gonna run the farmer's market and who's gonna do all the events?
You are.
No. I'm gonna plan them, I'm gonna help plan them, but no.
Brother Mike, she's on your program volunteering
Y'all
before she
talking about her
knows it.
salary, you ain't seen my proposal.
Oh,
yet.
oh my.
No,
Well, but we're gonna
would
keep it.
like that position to
We're
be
gonna keep it.
part-time,
I think,
you know.
you know what, and that's not a bad idea. We'll keep it in we're not gonna get rid of that position.
Cause you weren't gonna do that part, so
No,
somebody.
so
You
Yeah,
gonna
we
run
need
farmer's
somebody
market?
good.
I'm not
Brother
getting-
Mike, you run, and you're gonna be a busy guy.
I'm retired, and I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays anymore.
No worries, no
Just
worries.
saying.
No,
But,
but we're gonna keep it in there. But I think,
Okay.
you know what though? I agree with you. We put a very bad hourly salary for that position.
And we fought it, and we couldn't get it changed.
Whenever we get changed.
Yeah, well,
By the
hey,
time I
can we
left
do,
here,
do you know what we could do?
$15.50.
We'll modify that, while we're doing it, let's modify that one and do that right too.
That sounds good.
Yep.
And I think we should just table number 2 for now.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Until we get
Well, so
all
yes.
that together.
So what I'd like to do for the council up here, to fairness to you guys, let's do this. Me and Catherine will put together a job description of what we want. I want you involved, just because you're gonna be doing something, so we'll get it all together. She's gonna do the legal part, make it all right, and then we'll give it to the council to review.
Yeah.
And then,
And get with Faith too, for all the things that she did, so you
Yeah.
get that in that new
And
job
like I
description.
told Jose, I'll be glad to help plan all this, but I'm not
Yeah.
getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
sure.
But I do have a couple questions for Courtney or
Yeah,
you or
that's
whoever.
for, that's for.
So how many hours are you planning on working? Because I know you have a full-time job, right?
I do. I have a very flexible full-time job.
Okay.
And so many of the things that I'm doing, for example, when I'm volunteering and I'm planning events for a March event for, let's say, Active Heroes, if that person can be involved in the downtown project or for something else that we're doing for a fundraiser, it's just nice to be able to go, I can do both things. And I
Right.
understand the people who are willing to donate and who have national, some people have national programs that can donate to our cities, some people do not. But if you go in January and say Kentucky Eye Care or whatever smaller business, it's January and here's what we're trying to do over the course of the next 12 months. At what point can you fit in? Is it $3,000? Is it $7,000? Is it $25,000? And what part of the year? Everybody has different budgets and different timeframes. So it's really wise to know what's going on. So while I'm meeting with people, I can kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
So Jose has asked me to work 20 hours a week.
Okay, that's gonna be my next question.
So that's about what it is. It's, you know, I don't know that I'm clocking in or out, but that's the dedication. It's about 20 hours per
Okay.
week. And again, I do have a full-time job. I've been there a very long time.
I know you
They're very
have, yeah.
flexible with my schedule, and they know how passionate I am about this particular
Right.
position. So I'm in
And
it.
I'm not questioning that, I just wanted to, because I know that if you work over 100 hours a week, we have to pay retirement. A month, I mean, a week, month, I'm sorry.
You work 100 hours a
I'm
week.
like, I assure you. I
know you looked at me, I
I
was
do
like-
work collectively quite a bit, but.
I'm sorry,
No.
no, it's $100 a month, I mean, 100 hours a month, so,
Okay.
I just
I'm
wanted
not
to.
looking to make
I
out.
know.
And I am really, truly, I see an opportunity for what I'm already building in a skill set that I have to use, not just in the city of St. Matthews and to do, there's so much we can do right here in
I
Shepherdsville.
know,
And there's a tried and true process, and we've watched it happen in different areas of the Louisville area. I wanna bring it here.
and
Do
it
it
can't be done alone, I tried.
Huh?
It can't be done alone, I tried with the help of Public Works, but it can't be done alone.
No, but that's where I feel like if you have the backing of the Chamber of Commerce, it's a big deal. The city council is a must, and you have those community
Conference
based.
center.
The conference center, the American Legion, Active Heroes, these are large groups of people who are wanting to invest in the city of Shepherdsville.
Right.
That's why I just like, there's so much positive momentum, it would be, it would be wise at this point, in my opinion, to consolidate those efforts and really make some good decisions while people are investing. Don't just sponsor an event, don't just do this, here's some things you can do in downtown Shepherdsville.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
that's,
I agree.
I just think when you look at the two positions, that's probably more on me, that we probably should have looked at maybe switching the position and proposing it to you guys differently. Because I was trying, knowing some of the things that have happened, the way things have just, we have to work at a little quicker pace. I've seen things like our policies and procedures go over 2 years.
Oh,
I mean, that's just unacceptable. We are going to do things on a much rapid pace of getting things done for the city. The citizens expect more from us. So again, a little bit on that. So we're gonna do two things. Catherine and I are gonna work to polish up the original position, Bonnie, and change the rate on that. If you guys have some thoughts, I have, at least 18 should be the number for that, if you're gonna do that. And we'll make it a part-time position for somebody that's interested, that wants to get up at 6
Absolutely,
o'clock.
they need to start out what everybody starts out.
Yeah,
start
so
out.
we can do that, but then on the other part of it, we'll actually set up the position for Courtney, we'll make it more of an economic development part, because that becomes
There you
then,
go.
for you guys to understand, it's a totally different beast of what you did versus what we're asking to do. It's just two worlds, and I was trying to use that position, a little bit looking at some of the haywires, the things we go through when it comes to establishing up. So we'll get that set up for you guys, I'll get that to you, Bonnie, good questions, I appreciate that, but we can get all taken care of. We'll get you all squared away, girl. All right, with that,
Okay, I just wanna clarify, can you give me the ordinance number, because
Oh, I've got it.
well, I know, but I'm gonna assume nobody else here does, and that way everyone will know.
This one that I'm looking at is 019299.
019299.
But the first one was 019283.
Yeah, it was, but this has got the same thing in it as far as that was concerned.
I'm probably gonna need to know all of them.
Probably. I got a whole folder of them somewhere.
I might be calling you. Okay, so I just wanna make sure I understand, so that when I go back and write this, I'm starting off correctly and I'm not having to redraft, because that costs more money. You want to keep the current, job title that's in there, but increase the pay.
And I would make it
One.
part-time, because it don't need to be.
Okay,
the
and then the second one is, then we wanna add a new job description for her.
For her.
Is that generally?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll have that for you.
okay,
I
that's
will
fine,
have
I
that
just
for you
wanna
to
make
put
sure
in legal
I
form.
understood, I thought I did, but I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
so that when I go to start drafting this.
So, cause we'll
I'm on
need
the
to
same
start
page.
that person out on the one that replaces your job that you had, at least starting them out at, I think ours starting for
1803.
1803.
Yeah, we're talking about that then. Hey,
Yeah.
so do you?
I never made that.
Do you have somebody that we, we'll talk,
I,
we'll talk
I
later.
have people in mind
All
now,
right, we'll go talk.
but
All
I've
right.
already started planning it, so
right.
anyways, we gotta table this, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, we.
Well, we didn't do it in ordinance form,
Yeah,
so we
need
don't
it-
have.
So we,
Okay.
so I need, so let's do this. So we, at this point, let's just, I need a motion to table.
Motion.
All right, a second on that? All right, so, motion from Bonnie, second from Faith to table.
Can you
And,
say what you did second?
Me, oh,
Faith did. And then what we'll do is I'll try to make sure, hopefully by the end of this week, Bonnie, Faith, and
Yes.
the rest of you guys, I'll try to have it for you this Friday. If not, we'll have it for the beginning of the week. I wanna give you a week, so you have it, so you can look it over, so you got a chance, got any questions.
That sounds
call.
good.
All right,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
sound good on that? All right, number 3.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call, I'm sorry.
Bonnie?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Faith?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes. All right, moving along, we're only an hour. Hey, we're gonna
Hey,
meet
we're
at
good,
10
too. We're
o'clock.
actually doing pretty good.
I'm glad it's
I was a
not
little, I was a
10
little worried
o'clock.
about that. All right, so we are, we're trying to deal with some of the issues that we have out there. And one of the issues we have is Keystone Crossroads
Yep.
and the left-hand turn. There have been discussions about this. I've heard on different occasions. I've heard people try to pass different ordinances. But we, as a city, have the right to do anything we want with that street. So, I figured it's better now than ever that we have no more left-hand turning out of Keystone Crossroads. There's too many things that go on there, too many accidents. I've talked to fire and police. It's a simple thing for us to do. So I'm going to have to, you okay there? All right.
What's the plan on doing it?
So there's two things. I've already got Tom involved, and he's got his guy. Well, first of all, once I make this, it's gonna be actually, we're gonna give February 6th to give it some time. Now, I told Tom is getting with the gentleman that actually painted and changed it out, put the triangle there, so you can't go there. But we're also gonna work with our police department to occasionally keep somebody out there and turn the blue lights on to make sure people understand it's changing right there. You can only go in right and out right. All right, now, we actually have a city that doesn't have a lot of solutions for that situation. More traffic's gonna go that way. Because when you get on Conestoga, you got some left-handed challenges. But we can't have that one. We're having too many different accidents. We have semis that are coming out of there. It's just really a hot mess. And unfortunately, we didn't do that. But at least let's take the sensible approach to at least one road and say no. So with that said, what I need to do is make Keystone Crossroads a right turn only onto Adam Shepherd Parkway. It will be done February 6th, but Tom, you've got to keep me up on that. If it has to be extended past that, just keep me a buzz. I know we talked about it today, but, you know.
Is it painting only, or are you
It's
gonna
a,
put
what
up
is it? It's like a vinyl they put down.
Yeah, what it is, they will come in and power wash what's currently there, completely remove it. Now, my conversation with him today also stated that we need signage. We need signage there that
Okay.
says, at eye level, right turn only. And then we also need signage on Keystone Crossroad, giving people that option to exit.
Okay.
And understanding.
Can we-
He didn't give me verbiage for that, but
Okay, no, I get it. I appreciate that. So can you get that to me and then,
he's gonna try to get out here by the end of the week, and get us some pricing. He
Yep.
really needs to measure it up.
yeah, I know some weather conditions. How cold is it? Can you work on that out there?
They want it to be 45 and rising,
Okay, all right.
but we've got good weather coming, so
Yeah,
as long
so,
as we can fit it into their schedule, we get that.
all right. So with that said, I mean, obviously, I've tried to talk to each of you about this already. And one of the things we're gonna do here, and I'm committed to this council, we're trying to give them every bit of information to make the best decisions they can make for you all. This isn't just about one person. This is about the 7 of us trying to make a better community. So I try my very best to get them information they have time to read and research and ask questions. So I'll do my best, I promise. If there's a time I haven't, please just call me. I don't have a meter like she does, so you can talk to me longer.
You need a meter.
Yeah, he does, I agree.
I was set up for
We're
that
gonna
one.
have to load on a meter
I
for
was set up
him.
for that. All right, with that said, I need a motion to approve on the
Motion.
bracket. All right,
Second.
Faith, second by Bonnie. All right, Miss Brenda?
Bonnie?
Oh, yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes,
Brad.
Absolutely, yes.
heck yeah.
Man, that was easy. All right, with that
Don't
said,
get
obviously,
used
what's that?
Don't get used to it.
Don't get, I've done, wait a minute, that's pretty good today. You never know how your first day is gonna go. My first day actually here was a monsoon, 5.5 inches in 8 hours. Then Thursday, the power went out here. So I'm like, boy, what a great week. All right, with that said, obviously, I have a proclamation that I would love Catherine to read, if she would. Yes, ma'am.
City of Shepherdsville Proclamation 2301, honoring the members of the Bullitt County Board of Education during School Board Recognition Month, January 2023. Whereas our community values a quality education as a vital step along the pathway to success for our children, and whereas Ms. Linda Belcher, Mr. Daryl Coleman, Ms. Lisa Hodges, Dr. Matt Mooney, and Ms. Juanita Nita Neal contribute greatly to this community through their service on the Bullitt County Board of Education, and whereas these decision makers are responsible for maintaining strong, effective budgetary oversight, high standards for employment, and a safe, well-managed set of school facilities, and whereas these board members are serving our community with integrity, honor, and a commitment to our children's futures, and whereas January 2023 marks Kentucky's observation of their contributions through School Board Recognition Month. Therefore, the Honorable Jose Cabero, Mayor of Shepherdsville, does hereby proclaim the month of January 2023 throughout this community as School Board Recognition Month, and urges all citizens to honor Ms. Linda Belcher, Mr. Daryl Coleman, Ms. Lisa Hodges, Dr. Matt Mooney, and Ms. Juanita Nita Neal for their service.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, so that's actually been pretty painless. I thought it was gonna be longer than that. All right, but we do have some things to finish up here. We have sign-in speakers, and Ken, we took you off of that list. I think he's gone already. They're gone. All right, so the first speaker we have is Ms. Joe Coffin. Would you like to come up and Happy New Year to you?
Joe Kaufman, 411 Centerview Drive, and I am a Bullitt Central graduate in '73. So, the first thing I wanted to ask is the baseball gentlemen that were up here. I would ask you all to really work on this because that would bring a lot of revenue into our city for our hotels, our restaurants, Cart Country, some of our other businesses, because my husband and son coaches a traveling team during the summer. And wherever we travel to different states, we spend a lot of money. So I think this is a great idea, and I think you've talked to my son on a couple of these to have us a baseball complex here or football complex. That would be wonderful. Let's make it bigger than what Mount Washington's
Yeah.
is.
I want to add to one of the things here, all the high schools are going to AstroTurf. All three go to AstroTurf, and we have 4 of the fields. We can have anywhere from 50 to 100 teams in our community on a weekend.
And they've already started that in this phase 1. I was at the board meeting tonight, and that's gonna be starting here pretty soon.
Yeah, one of the
So-
things, I don't want to get too much ahead of myself,
That's okay.
but I think the fact that we are going to talk to folks that do those tournaments to make sure that as we get prepared for it, we think there's a nice income revenue from that as well.
I really think there's a better
Bless you.
communication with this new council and this mayor, with the Board of Education
We are.
and the schools, from what I've heard tonight. So, it's been really great.
They've been very kind to us. They've
Yes.
allowed us to have the fields, put them back there like that. So, and then we've got more things we're working with the school board. We're gonna build a partnership with them as well when it comes to the community sports for youth.
The crossing guards, I did say something to them tonight, and I asked Dr. Bacon if he would get with you, because we had talked about it. This is very, very, very urgent.
Yep.
Because I take my grandkids to Bullitt Central every morning, and I cringe when I see a big dump truck or a garbage truck come around where the kids in the morning or the afternoon coming across the road, they almost get hit.
Yeah,
And I don't want to see somebody get killed before something's done.
No, I've talked to the police chief already. We've talked about
Good.
what are we gonna have in our community involvement, but we've also talked about the school crossings, and
Yes.
it's pretty hectic out there. You got Roby across there, and you got kids going across there.
Oh, yes, and it's a mess.
When high school's going to school, you can't see those kids crossing.
You can't.
Mayor,
Like,
did
there's
we,
no lights.
do I understand, did we request at one time from the state to put those flashing pedestrian signs?
Lisa Carter did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lisa fought to get them, and we've
I
never been
think
able to
she
get them.
said, she had told me at the last meeting, after the meeting, that, they were committed to doing that, but somebody dropped the ball. So that might be something we wanna, call the transportation department up there in Frankfurt,
We can do that.
to get that done.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely.
we'll find
At
out
least
about that.
something right now, because I'm afraid one of those kids, especially in the afternoon, is gonna get killed.
I understand.
Because it's happened so close, so many
It's
times,
just blinking.
you know.
She probably
No, there's no doubt.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
the fire department and EMS, I wanna thank them from the bottom of my heart, because I was at Kroger's Thursday night when the lights kept going in and out. My husband calls me and tells me he's having a stroke. And so I left my cart, I called 911, the fire department. By the time I came out of Kroger's, they were there, so I followed them to my house, and EMS was next. I was so upset and nervous, because I know a lot of you, I've said this before, that we lost one of our sons to COVID last year at Christmas, and I just couldn't lose my husband. So I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. They did an excellent job. Excellent. The ordinances, I think it's very important. I know, she said she wouldn't work a lot of overtime, but I hear, Bonnie, I've been here the whole last year, and some of these ordinances are ridiculous. And I'm surprised it hadn't got you all in, or the past, council and mayor in trouble before now. So, personally, I would rather spend the little extra money from my taxes for you to get these done as quickly as possible. And if you have to go to court with somebody else, that's what you're talking about, extra expenditures, right? The $150.
Oh,
If it comes
no,
to
it's-
that.
it's- Yeah, but we've got a balance for the most part, her balance her time.
Okay.
No, it's,
I just
she's
think it's
scheduled a time,
important.
yeah, she's got a schedule where
Okay.
her 32 hours are split into working on the ordinances as well as taking care of the city council meetings.
Yeah,
setting up
I
the
think it's
ordinances.
very important, because like you said, I mean, they are a mess.
Yep,
Anybody that's been coming to the meetings could see that.
we have some opportunity.
And Courtney, I know her real well. You know, some people say they do 120%, she does 200%. She's not really in it for the money. She's more in it because this is her community. Look what all she's involved in. So I know she's gonna do an excellent job,
Yeah, we're not,
an excellent job.
we are not worried about that at all.
So,
Not a worry
and
from anybody up here.
No.
Mayor, I would like to say, overall, what you have said tonight, the vision of this city, I'm behind you 200%.
I appreciate it.
I think, once people start seeing, results, I think they're gonna change their mind on a lot of things. And I think, you'll see more involvement with your constituents.
Yep.
And maybe more people come up here and say, hey, what about this? What about that? Because we could all use new ideas,
Absolutely.
you know. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
All right, so we have one more speaker, Perry Cook. Come on up. You're no stranger to us. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the council and of Shepherdsville. My name is Perry Cook. I'm the executive director of Mark 12 Ministries. My address is 6504 Route Road, Fisherville, Kentucky. My 27 years in the Army, unfortunately, I don't have a place that I call home, but I'm not from Bullitt County, but I got here as fast as I could. God has placed this county on my heart, and so I just, if I could, pass out just an update, also where Mark 12 Ministry has been. Sorry, you just got a resume. I also attached my resume so that you guys have an opportunity to see my previous experience in the 30 years or so that I've been in the business community, on top of the 27 years in the Army. And I also just want to remind the new council, and first I want to congratulate all of you guys. Last year we had a donor who offered to invest $500,000 in this community for a facility. So currently, Mark 12 Ministries, we operate the Bullitt County White Flag Shelter. We also have taken on Room of the Inn from Heart of My City over a year and a half ago. We also have Pathway Home program that helps folks that are in poverty to secure them from not becoming homeless. And we are rolling out a new ministry this year called Healing Together, which is going to bring resources, support groups to our county because unfortunately we continue to be a resource desert. My prayer is that the relationship here in this city will grow with Mark 12 Ministry as it has in other communities within our county. I have a wonderful relationship with the other cities in our county as we continue to provide services to the county as a whole. But just to give us a review of 2022 and how God has worked in our community. The White Flag Shelter last year saw 61 individuals, with 82% of them being from Bullitt County, that we were able to provide a warm meal, a warm, safe place to stay every evening that the temperatures got below 35 degrees. Through this, we saw 9 individuals make decisions to go into long-term rehab. We all realize that drug addiction and mental health in this county is a huge issue. We had the good fortune to sit on the Bullitt County Health Assessment this summer. Many of you guys may have seen it in the Pioneer News when it came out this fall, the 4 top priorities that the health department had singled out as what opportunities are in this community. Mental health, 1, 2, addiction, 3, obesity, and 4, homelessness or affordable housing. And so being able to provide that through our community, last year, again, we saw 61 individuals that we were able to help with that. In February, we had the winter storm that prompted 5 days of 24-hour service. Already this year, between Thursday before Christmas all the way through Christmas, we went into 24-hour operations, where we saw 20 individuals, or not 20, 28 individuals stay with us during that time frame. We had 14 individuals that didn't have a place to be on Christmas, and we provided meals, and we provided a place for them to be warm and safe. This year in the Room in the Inn program, we've partnered with 15 churches throughout the community to provide shelter, as well as a very robust programming. We've helped 20 individuals, and we've had 6 graduates this year. Those are 6 folks that came to our program in despair and depravity, homeless with nothing, that are now a part of our community, who are taxpayers, who have full-time jobs, and are living successful lives. And also 2 of them who volunteer with us at the White Flag Shelter now. We've assisted over 127 individuals through our programs in partnership with Bullitt County this year in a variety of services. And we've also provided transportation to treatment services throughout the state, because we also realize that there is no drug treatment in our county for those who are unable to afford $50,000 a month. In July, Mark 12 partnered with Bullitt County Health Department, and that's what I was talking about. And we continued, or we helped in this survey that had not been, it's supposed to happen every 5 years, but it had been 7 years, we actually helped canvass those who did not have access to the electronic survey. And so we were able to collect 75 surveys for individuals that did not have access to computers. And since the beginning of our ministry in 2019, we've seen God work through us and touch over 400 people in this community in Bullitt County. In October, we hosted our first golf scramble, which we were very excited about. And this February, we're having a wild game dinner that is featuring Martin from Duck Dynasty as a fundraiser and also as an outreach to our community to, again, speak about unity and bringing our county together to understand that as we continue to grow and we get close to 100,000 in this county, we can't forget those who've lived here their entire lives. The generational poverty and the generational addiction that plagued our community, that was featured in the A&E special, 60 Days or 90 Days in Narcoland, and that we see in the front lines of our ministry as we minister to those who are impoverished and unhomed and have no hope. So this year we were blessed that Mayor Hockenberry signed a lease to us from December 1st through March 30th to start the White Flag Shelter at the community center. We realized that probably next year we're going to look for something else. Again, we're hopeful for a facility. Again, we've also, as a ministry, have never asked for any monies or any financial support from the county or from the cities. All we're asking for is a seat at the table where we can come together, all the mayors and the county, our law enforcement, our ministries, our faith leaders, to come up with a solution like we've seen done in other communities throughout the United States. It has to be a full force issue. It can't be just the faith leaders. I have no expectation that it just be the government, and it can't be just our law enforcement. It has to be a multi-tiered approach where we work in unity, locking arms together to help these folks who are the least of these, the impoverished and the deprived. So far this year, during the sub-zero temperatures, we've been open and we've served 34 individuals. And I do want to just say too, what our ministry does, which is an unintended consequence, but has been a blessing, is we also are there for those folks that come out of our detention center. And I just want to inform this council, because you guys are new to council and haven't heard my spiel before, but our detention center is not just a Bullitt County detention center. It's a state facility. And at any time, 50% of the inmates are state inmates. And the unfortunate thing about that is when they get released, if no one's there to pick them up, guess where they go? They go right up here to Shepherdsville, downtown, or they go to the library. But just this year, 2 weeks ago, there was actually an individual from Michigan who was released from our detention center, who had a very long laundry list of previous offenses and had been in prison for 27 years. And he was heading right to downtown Shepherdsville. And if it wasn't for our ministry being there to be able to talk to him, get to know him, help feed him, give him a place to stay, and then start to bridge the communication with his sister who lived in Detroit, to be able to get him transportation to go back to Detroit, he would have just maybe set up here. By the way, he was arrested for having 3 pounds of marijuana in his vehicle as he was coming through Bullitt County. But that's part of the things that we do as a ministry that is an unintended consequence, is that we build relationships with people to help get them to other places other than our county. Yes, Mayor.
I was gonna say, I've seen you, I've heard you here before. You guys do really good work, and we appreciate that. What we're trying to do is find that happy medium. I really appreciate your work. Brother Mike actually came up with what we wanted to do. What we're gonna do in this city is gonna be, he's our point person. I would like, if you would like to get with Brother Mike, and I know Jeremy has his situation that you guys can bring things that we can be a part of. I know, we talked about finding ways that we have, of the council and the mayor, that we can be involved. So we're gonna do this thing at the table. But for us, here in Shepherdsville, Brother Mike is the person who's gonna be our point person. So please, if you will, let's get all this connected. Are we okay with that, Brother Mike? Because I wanna make sure that we get,
Unity.
that's exactly
So,
right.
so
That's exactly
would
what-
you prefer going forward that I just?
Well,
that
no,
I
I'd
just-
still like to be, either
Okay.
one of you guys
Okay.
updates, because Bonnie and I want to, with Jennifer here, want to work with Brother Mike. But we think we've got the person we want to handle our situation within the city of Shepherdsville. We
Okay.
want him to be the point person for that all to filter through. And then obviously you guys come back and tell us what we're doing, because we want to take care of these folks.
All right.
Okay? Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
very much.
Does anybody have any
I know,
questions
I'll
or?
leave it there.
No.
No?
No, thank you very much. We always appreciate what you do. Thanks again. We always do appreciate it. Real quick, I know, just, we'll finish up here. Planning and zoning, no update. I don't see anybody from planning and zoning. I don't think that Dwayne Price is here. Department heads. Chief Schmidt, would you like to give your first, just little 2 cents worth?
It's great.
A man of many words. We're glad to have you.
Short and sweet.
Yep, glad to have you. Chief Troutman, would you like to say anything? We thank you for the compliments from Joe, but,
Right, thank you very much. We talked a little bit earlier today, when this first came in about, curtail the town works. What was the police department, having action on police day today?
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
all right. All right, Tom?
I got one thing.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully it'll make everybody a little bit happier.
Yep.
We've been working with CSX for about 6 months, 7
Oh,
months
no.
now.
Oh, no.
Don't get too worked up.
I'm gonna get excited.
Jointly, us, the city of Shepherdsville, and CSX will be working on the 2 crossings next week, weather permitting.
Oh,
Awesome.
It's not a permanent solution, but it's gonna get us through till.
it's hard. Hey, Brother Mike, you gotta pray on this one. I need all the prayer I can get on this one, because we got CSX working with us. We're excited now.
Great news, Tom.
So before I forget, for everybody that doesn't really understand, we've had some situations, even the tunnel area there at 480C going in back to 61. Okay, there was a hole right after Christmas. I know 2 days later, it was filled. And I asked Tom about that. So we do have some opportunity, what we do in Public Works, but do not forget, they've been out there dealing with a number of issues. I know I've talked to Tom, I've talked to Scott, Beach Grove Road, Beach Grove Road. Boy, that's a road that just needs, that one in Blue Lake, I don't know what to do with. But we do have some bad spots there on Oak Beach Grove Road we're gonna take care of. We are going to start putting priorities on exactly which roads we can start with. We can't get them all done at one time. I've already had a bunch of calls, I get it. But at least let's start getting some of these things fixed. We're gonna start allocating money. We've got some MAP money. We've got actually some money we can use to take care of that. Scott, I know you're working with Tom on some things. We are going to, our first mission, and I have to go ahead and say this, we talked about the number of things we're doing. We are going to clean the area between Wendy's and 44. That's the state's property. But if we don't clean it, nobody does. And we need to start taking segments of our city, and I know Ray Page has put a lot of effort and time into this stuff. We're gonna work together on some stuff. We're gonna reinforce our ordinance on that. And when we go out there, but right now, we need to show the people of Shepherdsville that we're gonna start cleaning up some of these areas, because it's our town, and we gotta start somewhere. And I think no more symbolic than that area right there, because it's got a drainage issue on top of all the trees that are growing in there. So we're gonna take it out, and at least when you come off there on 44 and you look to your right before you go on Adam Shepherd, you can say, that's cleaned up. It may be a small victory, but it's a start, right? It's a start. But that's the way we have to tackle things on this, because there's too much money involved in this. Anyway, appreciate that. Scott, would you like to add anything to this?
You pretty much stole my thunder, but for the next few weeks, you're gonna see us working with Public Works on 44 West, as well as there in front of Wendy's. We've got some sewer lines that be addressed there as well.
Didn't you say I could say some of that stuff?
Absolutely.
I thought you said I could. I didn't mean to take your thunder. Did I? And am I missing somebody else? Oh, you're a department head. Do you want to say anything? No. What's that? All right. Yes, we've got some work there as well. All right, well, listen, it's our first meeting of so many more. But I will tell you this. I'm really glad to be a part of this. And I've got a lot of support for a lot of our vision and things we want to do in our city. We are going to try to address issues. Larry, I know you got a problem there, buddy. Senior Lake. We've got some opportunities with flooding and drainage in our city. 65% of the city is underwater, okay? So we got some work. So with everything said, make sure I get this right, I need a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I make a motion.
Oh, I'm dumb.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. I'm sorry, I get ahead of myself. All right.
Skipped it.
I didn't want to let you say anything.
I
No, I'm just kidding. All
I
right.
figured that's what it was.
All right, Bonnie, so I gotta say something about Bonnie. I don't know what your Christmas was like. I found out hers worked. She had a water main break at her building. She was there all day Christmas?
At my office.
At her office.
I was there Christmas and the day after and the day after and New Year's and the next day after that.
So when you think sometimes maybe a holiday wasn't as good as it's supposed to be, just remember Bonnie. But I'll start with Bonnie.
Want to thank Public Works, Fire Department, Police Department for when we had all the flooding and everything that went on. I know you guys put in a lot of long, hard hours, and I appreciate what y'all have done. That's it.
Brad?
I want to reiterate what Bonnie said about the hard work by all the employees during the flooding. It's very appreciated. I did want to mention one thing. It's kind of on a sad note. I wanted to mention the passing of Stephen French of Shepherdsville. Stephen was a past member of the Shepherdsville Fire Department. With Lane's help, we were able to track down his actual service time. He joined in 1989 and left in 1995. And when he left, he was actually the second assistant chief under Jim Enlow. He passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly on Christmas Day. So we want to keep Steve's family and loved ones in our thoughts and prayers. Steve, one other thing about Steve, he was a U.S. Army reservist, a longtime employee at UPS, and he also organized several fundraisers for the Crusade for Children while he was a member of the fire department. He was very active in that. He was very well liked and respected, so I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. He was also a member of our church, St. Aloysius.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. Thank you very much, Brad.
Thank you.
Miss Jennifer?
I would also like to thank Public Works for their work during that flood, especially because my backyard was a lake. So, yeah, and it was difficult getting to work that day. So, thank you all. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you all very much.
She's our princess. Ms. Faith?
I also want to say thank you to Public Works, Fire Department, Police Department. You all did a fantastic job. I was out a little bit in it and kind of watched it. And the swift water rescue stuff, that was amazing. I love looking at that. So thank you for posting pictures. Thank you all for all you've done to make this city better. And thank you all for coming tonight. And that's short and sweet. I mean,
All
leave it alone.
right. I appreciate that, Faith. Thanks for reminding me that council gets to speak too.
Yeah.
You gotta watch guys
anytime.
like me.
I
Mike?
know you were trying to skip us.
Words of wisdom now. We gotta make sure, I'm trying to make sure, I was so focused on the drinking part, I didn't want you to get messed up there. So what would you like to say?
That's okay. No, I just want to thank everybody. You can look at the attendance out here tonight, and that's probably the largest we've had in any number of time, many months. And it's glad to see the participation. I think I'm proud to be a member of this council. I think this council and our new mayor, we're headed in the right direction. There's gonna be much more communication, open communication, transparency. I've already had 2 meetings in the mayor's office with him since the first of the year, which has eclipsed the total time that the previous mayor gave me to communicate with him. So I think we don't always agree. We mention things. I think where we're headed, we pretty much agree on. How we get there and what we do is some discussion, but I think the citizens are going to see improvements. And some of these will just have other ramifications. We'll address those as they come.
He said,
I'm very glad to be part of this council this year. Thank you, Faith.
Before he says that, he's gonna get tired of emails.
Yeah.
I've already sent quite a few, so.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, so I'll try to calm down on that a little bit. Miss Paula?
Well, I'm very honored to be here and excited to be a part of the council and ready to see things get done in the community. Thank everybody for coming and be safe going home.
one thing that we didn't do today with everything, we had a full plate, and we're gonna have a full plate next week, but sometime in the next couple of meetings, we'll actually get our departments, I know we talked about working with Brother Mike, but we've got things we're working on, whether it's beautification, whether we're talking about, pay scale, or working with finances and that aspect of it. I know Faith and Jennifer are gonna be working a lot of events we got coming up, so we've got some good things coming up, I'm really excited again. So, now let's make sure I get this right. I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Second?
I second.
All right, Mike's a second.
You can
All right.
let
All right,
Yeah.
so with that said, we're done.
Just
We
to
need a
follow.
vote. Vote, no, gotta do just roll call. All right,
Oh, I didn't have that as wrong.
I was gonna say, you didn't have it done.
Here, yeah. Here.
Aye.
Not used to doing that.
Mike, yes or no?
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
Brad.
We are done.
And it's 12 minutes
So
after
why do you have
9.
to be the last one all the time? We gotta switch it up.
That clock ain't right then.
Oh.
And I need to change that clock. Oh, that's even better.
I used to always be first.
I appreciate it. We're looking forward to it.
Now
Talk
I'm
this
always
time.
in the next.